I know your secret. I know what satisfies you after a long day of exasperating workloads and obnoxious colleagues. And no, it's not the final slice of chocolate cake from your friend's cousin's sister's birthday party. It's you. It's being ordinary. Picture this. You're out shopping for a dress for this upcoming party. As you browse the endless aisles of clothing, you hear a commotion. All of a sudden, everyone around you starts sprinting in a single direction, screams scattered throughout the crowd. Someone yells out, "Shots! They heard shots!" What do you do? Well, obviously, you start running as well. You run for your life. You push through the crowd, sprinting to the nearest exit. Once you get out of the store, you keep on running until you get to somewhere safer. What if I told you that this exact thing happened to me? Now, what if I told you that there were no shots fired at all that day? Nothing happened, but my brain's automatic response to follow the crowd, to conform, overshadowed the rest of my thoughts. Ever since I was a little girl, I grew up to every authoritative figure in my life urging me to be myself, to be unique. But as I grew older, as we all age, we begin to take our place in this world, in a society where it becomes exponentially difficult to stand out amongst the crowd. With time, we learn that fitting in seems to be the better choice. Society begs me to do what I'm asked to. And so this leaves a majority of people listening, conforming, forgetting. But once an individual's life is taken over by what is deemed to be the safest, best decision, he or she is left spending the rest of their lives searching for success, searching for happiness, searching for love, searching for purpose, and most importantly, searching for acceptance. Our society has created an atmosphere of fear. We are all afraid to be ourselves simply because everyone else will not accept us. This leaves a majority of people just being what society asks them to do. It leads to this tendency to conform to the point that we spend our everyday lives following the footsteps of those around us, sometimes strangers and other times not. There are three different types of conformity: compliance, identification, and internalization. The lowest extreme of conformity is compliance. This is when a person changes the way they act or their likes in order to be similar to their social environment or those around them. Identification is the next level of conformity. This is when a person changes their personal beliefs or their behavior in order to be similar to their social environment, just like compliance. These two types of conformity, both compliance and identification, result in the individual having two different personalities: a private personality and a public personality. The public personality is similar to all of their peers. However, the private personality is their true identity. For this reason, both of these forms of conformity aren't that terrible. However, the third and the most worst form of conformity is internalization. This is similar to identification in the idea that these individuals change their personal beliefs and their behavior. However, internalization causes an individual to have a single personality that is taken over by the likes and thoughts of those around them, meaning that these individuals no longer have any sense of identity. Their public and their private personalities are both the same. Let's dive a bit deeper into the specifics of conformity and the very vivid behavioral effects it can have on a person. I want to begin by sharing a personal anecdote of a friend of mine. In this scenario, a large group of children are participating in a Zoom class, and this example will give you guys a perfect real-life example of what conformity can be like. The teacher presents the students with a question and 4 different answer choices to choose from. My friend, in the attempt to make a silly little joke, immediately typed in the incorrect answer into the chat. Every other student in the class automatically followed suit since this was the first answer entered. And so this left both my friend and the teacher finding this little joke as just a joke and laughing about it. However, all jokes aside, this right here is a prime example of conformity in the life of an average human being. As high schoolers, we dress according to the latest trends in order to fit into our judgmental society. When a person chooses to drink against their own will simply because all of their friends are doing so and pushing them to do so, this idea of peer pressure also fits under conformity. We do what we are told to do in society. We make choices and change our opinions when the majority of the crowd thinks the opposite of what we do. We change our opinions when the majority of the crowd thinks the opposite of we do, simply so we do not stand out. All these examples may seem insignificant in the large scheme of things. However, the issue that arises with conformity is the fact that we live in a world where average is secretly the norm. It prevents people from innovating, from learning, and from deterring from what is socially acceptable. This fear has grown to the point that a lot of our biggest fears surround the idea of being average, being just like everyone else. We all crave to be different, but when the opportunity arises, majority of us back out because who knows what the neighbors are going to say? What about my mom's friends, my grandparents? What will they think of me? It's interesting because the most deep-rooted lesson in our lives and our greatest fear, the fear of being average, has grown to become our most common choice. Quite a paradox, if you ask me. We do what we are told to do because of the society's dangerous and bewitching force of conformity. In a way, we live for a society that lives to kill us. In reality, it is those individuals who took that leap of faith and embraced their identity that have actually grown to become the most successful minds known to mankind. Albert Einstein kicked out of his classroom because his brain worked differently and his thoughts didn't align with the rest. Walt Disney deemed a bad animator and fired from his job because he envisioned things differently. J.K. Rowling, a single, unemployed mother struggling from poverty, who is now one of the world's greatest authors, simply because she did not let society tell her that she wasn't good enough. Secretly, we're all afraid of what the future holds. We're afraid of change, of innovation, of ideas. And for that reason, we choose to play it safe, leaving us with being the exact same as everyone else around us. But what bothers me about this is that in the journey we take to be loved by the rest of the world, we end up losing ourselves. Studies have shown that conformity is not learned, it is an innate human behavior. An experiment done by Professor Christopher Frith of University College London and psychologist Daniel Campbell Meiklejohn of University of Sussex showed that the lateral orbital frontal cortex regions were much larger in the brains of those who easily conformed in their social experiment. Humans love conformity, and we are born with this inclination to conform. Conformity in our world, sometimes referred to as mob mentality or peer pressure, extends to the point that our tendencies as humans to follow rules, say hello, copy trends, and even get married are all a result of conformity. Our brains love synchronization, so we do anything to follow the crowd. Ironic, isn't it? Our society and our mindset trap us in a cycle in which escape seems daunting. But everything must begin somewhere, right? As a result, I urge you to take control of your life. I urge you to leave here today and do something that everyone else would find absolutely insane. I urge you to think for yourself before blindly jumping into anything. I urge you to be yourself in everything that you do, no matter what everyone says. Who knows, maybe your attempts to follow your heart and listen to your own thoughts will lead to you being the next celebrity with an incredible success story, all because you didn't listen to what every random person you cross on the street has to say. Embrace yourself. Be yourself. Thank you.